You've been carrying a grudge that's only hurting one person, and it's not them. Stay with us, because later we'll walk through a quiet guided meditation that might just change that. Here's the claim we're going to test together today. Forgiveness isn't a nice thing you do for somebody else. It's not generosity. It's not letting them off the hook. It's actually the only move that frees you. Because the unforgiving mind, it turns out, is a prison built entirely from the inside, and the person serving the sentence is you. If you can really see this one thing, it changes how you experience every difficult relationship, every lingering resentment, every low-grade tension you've been hauling around without noticing. So let's start with something specific. Picture a co-worker, maybe someone who took credit for your idea in a meeting about 6 months ago. You handled it in the room. You stayed professional. You smiled, maybe even nodded. But since then, every time their name lands in your inbox, there's a little spike, a low hum of irritation that wasn't there before. You replay the meeting in your head while you're driving home. You rehearse the thing you should have said. You notice you're slightly less generous with them now, slightly less present in your own work when they're around. The moment lasted 10 seconds. The sentence has been running for half a year. Here's the first thing worth noticing. That person lives rent-free in your head, and you're the one paying. Think about what they've actually cost you since that meeting. Hours of mental replay, the energy it takes to manage your face when you see them in the hallway, the little drag on your mood every time you scroll past their email. Meanwhile, they almost certainly have no idea. They went home that day, made dinner, watched something on Netflix, slept fine. The trial is happening entirely in your courtroom. And that's the metaphor I want you to hold with me. Imagine your mind right now as a courtroom. You're the judge. You're also the prosecutor. You're also the jury. And somehow, in a setup that should be impossible, you're also the prisoner. The person you resent is on trial, but the courtroom is inside your head. The proceedings run 24 hours a day, and you never get to leave the room. You eat in there. You sleep in there. You bring your kids to soccer practice in there. That's what an unforgiving mind actually feels like from the inside. Not righteous. Not powerful. Just tired. If we look honestly at the unforgiving mind, it's not the strong, principled stance it pretends to be. It's something much more fragile. It's exhausted, because it's running a trial in the background of everything else you're trying to do. It's afraid, because it's constantly scanning for the next betrayal, the next slight, the next confirmation that people can't be trusted. It's a little paranoid, even because once you've decided someone is the kind of person who would do that, your mind starts collecting evidence everywhere. You notice the thing they did wrong yesterday. You miss the 3 things they did fine. And here's the uncomfortable part. The grudge starts to eat the thing it was supposed to protect. You wanted to protect your dignity, your boundaries, your sense of being treated fairly. But the longer the trial runs, the less of you there is for anything else. Less patience for your partner. Less attention for your work. Less room for the easy, ordinary good things that have nothing to do with this person at all. The resentment started out feeling like a shield. At some point, quietly, it became a chain. Now here's where a door opens. And I want you to be willing to walk through it just a few steps with me. What if your judgment of this person is less about what they actually did, and more about something you're protecting in yourself? Stay with me. I'm not saying what they did was fine. I'm not saying you imagined it. The meeting happened. They took credit, that's real. But the 6-month sentence, the ongoing trial, that's not about the meeting anymore. That's about something in you. Maybe a fear that you're invisible at work. Maybe an older story that people will always reach past you. Maybe a part of you that learned long ago that if you don't keep score, no one will. The person you resent is often standing in for something much bigger than themselves. They became the face of a fear you were already carrying. And as long as they're guilty, you don't have to look at the fear. The trial keeps your attention pointed outward, at him, instead of inward, at the tender thing underneath. This isn't a flaw. This is just what minds do, but noticing it changes everything. And here's the turn, the place where, if you're willing, the whole thing reframes. Forgiveness isn't declaring the defendant innocent. It's not saying what they did was okay. It's not even something you do for them. Forgiveness is realizing you built the courtroom. You can adjourn it, and you've been the one locked inside the whole time. Forgiving someone isn't letting them off the hook. It's finally taking yourself off it. Read that again, slowly, in your own voice. Forgiving them isn't letting them off the hook. It's taking yourself off it, because as long as you need them to be guilty, you need to keep being the victim. That's the deal. The roles are locked together. The moment you no longer need a verdict, the whole courtroom dissolves. Not because justice was served, but because you stopped showing up to the trial. So how do you actually do this? In real life? With a real person you really can't stand. It's smaller than you think. You don't have to forgive them all at once. You don't have to feel warm toward them. You don't have to call them or write them or rehearse some big-hearted speech. You just have to be willing, for a moment, to look at them and find one small flicker of something that isn't the case you've been building. Maybe they were nervous in that meeting too. Maybe they're someone's exhausted parent. Maybe there's a version of them, somewhere underneath the version your mind has been prosecuting, that's just a tired person trying to get through the week. You don't have to like them. You just have to notice that they're a whole person, not just the role they've been playing in your courtroom. That tiny flicker is enough. That's the adjournment. That's the door swinging open from the inside. And when you actually do this, when you stop needing someone to be guilty, something surprising happens where the tension used to live. Lightness, not forgiveness as some grand spiritual achievement, but just the simple physical experience of putting something heavy down. Your shoulders drop 1/4 inch. The email lands and there's no spike. Their name comes up and you feel almost neutral, which after 6 months of low-grade war feels close to miraculous. You get your mind back. That's the whole gift, not justice, not closure, not an apology. Just your own attention, returned to you, free to be spent on the actual life you're living instead of a trial that was never going to end. The person you resent will go on with their day either way. The only real question was always whether you were going to keep paying their rent. Let's take this somewhere quieter now. If you want to keep practicing with us, You can like the video and subscribe. Let's take a moment now to let this settle with a guided meditation. Let's take a few minutes to let this settle in the body. Find a position that feels supported. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. There's nothing to figure out here. Take a slow breath in. And let it out. A little longer than you took it in. Another one. Slower this time. Now, gently, bring to mind that person. The one whose name still causes a small spike. You don't need to picture the whole story. Just let them be there. At a comfortable distance. Notice what happens in your body when they appear. Maybe a tightness in your chest. Maybe a small tension in your jaw. Maybe nothing at all today. Whatever is there, just let it be there. You don't have to like them. You don't have to forgive them yet. You're just looking. Now, very gently, see if you can find one small thing in them that isn't the case you've been building. Maybe they were tired that day too. Maybe they're afraid of something you can't see. Maybe they're just a person trying. Just one small flicker. That's all. And if nothing comes, that's fine. The willingness to look is already the shift. Now let them go. Let them step out of your mind. Let them have their own day somewhere else. Feel the space where they were. Notice if it's a little quieter now. A little less crowded. This is your mind. This is the room you actually live in. Breathe into that space. Let it be roomy. Let it be yours. Nothing to prosecute. Nothing to defend. Nothing to decide right now. Just this breath. And the next one. And when you're ready, slowly, let your attention come back to the room you're sitting in. The sounds around you. The weight of your body in the chair. You can carry this lightness with you. It doesn't have to stay on the cushion. Take one more slow breath. And gently, come back. Thank you for spending this time in practice. A free digital ACIM resource is linked in the description if you'd like it. And if you wish, you're welcome to comment. I am grateful. Thank you for being here. For staying with something that isn't always easy to look at. If something landed today, let it land softly. You don't have to do anything dramatic with it. Just notice, over the next day or two, where the courtroom is still running, and where it isn't. Be gentle with yourself in that noticing. We'll see you next time.